Let me tell you the story of Kael Sunder, a man whose greatest gift was to see, but whose true brilliance lay in what he chose to do with the sight bestowed upon him. In the radiant city of Vigilford, where the silvered spires of glass reached high to kiss the clouds, there stood the Fountain of Days beneath the towering Clocktower of Tomorrows. Here, amidst the flickering light of key lanterns and the gentle hum of river current, citizens would gather at the turning of the year to perform an ancient and wondrous ritual, a glimpse into what might lie ahead. Kael Sunder, a human wizard of the art of divination, was no stranger to the fountain's promise. As a younger man, he had made his living on velvet cushions and tarot spreads, offering hopeful futures to the unsure. But as years softened his ambitions and deepened his wisdom, Kael began to teach instead, opening his door to apprentices so they might understand what he himself had learned. Seeing the road is not the same as walking it. Decisions hold their own magic. Yet this year, the air in Vigilford carried an unfamiliar tension. Merchants whispered uneasily as they strung their stalls beneath the glass spires. Apprentices who typically buzzed with excitement instead worked silently, polishing the crystalline lattice of the Morrowglass, a delicate apparatus that augmented the fountain's visions. When families knelt by the basin's rippling waters, they recoiled, solemn and changed. The visions granted were unnervingly singular. One woman, her hands cracked from threads of a loom, saw herself become a guildmaster of the seamstress hall. She smiled, but her laughter held no warmth as she refused a suitor that evening. A young recruit glimpsed himself at a dreary desk, the badge of the watch heavy on his chest. He abandoned thoughts of joining the city guard then and there, and a budding poet saw a lifetime of rejection plastered across parchment she would never truly write. In fear, she buried her pen before it had tracked its first stanza. Kael watched, hands folded, as the air in Vigilford grew rigid. The streets became quiet, purposeful, and yet hollow. He felt the weight of this strange certainty. Like the song of a set clock, its ticking gears aligned but never living. He first dismissed it as the workings of fear, then began to take notice when even his own students seemed entrenched by the fountain's fate. One told him, tremulous, "The future holds no surprises, Master Sunder. I see myself a healer, but cannot even dream of failure." What does it mean? Kael sat by his tower window that night, the city gleaming below him, its lanterns like fireflies trapped in amber. If people trust a single path to guide them, will they ever learn to forge their own? He murmured. He rubbed his temples, the divination crystal in his robe pocket heavy as stone. His reflection in the glass revealed tired eyes, but amid his musings, a faint, rhythmic hum stopped him cold. It was coming from the Clocktower. Kael knew little of engineering, but he knew when a song was wrong. He sought out the artificer Etta Gearwright the next morning, her hands glinting with brass-ringed gloves as she worked at her forge. "Strangeness in the Clocktower?" she asked, tightening a bolt on a mechanical owl's wing. "A delicate thing, Master Sunder. Towers like that don't hum unless something's brewing." They were soon joined by Leary Quicknote, a halfling bard known for her knack of reworking tragedy into lyric poetry, and Sir Voss, a towering paladin with eyes like steady moons. Together, Kael's makeshift party began their inquiry at the Clocktower itself. It was Leary who first noticed the song of the clock seemed strained, like a lute held too tightly. "This machine, it's forcing harmony. Doesn't melody need choice?" she whispered. They climbed the winding stair, past the suspended Morrowglass that glittered like the frozen heart of time itself. Etta inspected the lattice, her lenses thick over her sharp blue eyes, and then frowned. "Buried here," she said softly, parting the glass veils, "is an old shard. See?" It was small, but Kael's breath caught. Ivory and veined by opalescent threads, this was no ordinary stone. It was a remnant of fate stone said to weave probability into certainty. It sat, pulsing faintly at the mechanism's core. It's narrowing possibility, Edda murmured. Each ripple of the fountain, each vision it forces, all sharpened to one path. The shard was not meant to harm. Someone had likely buried it years ago. A balm for chaos, a guiding light when decisions seemed too overwhelming. But now, unchecked, it ruled the city's hope like an iron scepter. And what is a world without hope? Only gears, churning endlessly, motion without meaning. Kael touched the cold glass encasing the device. His heart flickered. If we destroy it, Ser Voss voiced, chaos will return. Citizens will grow fearful without the safety of singular futures. And to leave it untouched is to imprison them, Kael finished grimly. An argument stirred amidst the four of them. Edda believed it could be dampened through artifice, softened into a device of many visions. Lyri swore the people needed songs, guidance, and the power to reshape their own futures. Ser Voss wanted neither harm nor upheaval. His devotion demanded a gentle remedy. And Kael, after hours of debating, found himself stricken by the simplest thought. What if, he whispered, the future was not something shown, but something shaped? By morning they worked as one. Edda fashioned a refracting bezel to split the Fate Stone's visions, a finer netting within the Morrowglass lattice. One shard, she told him, but endless reflections. Lyri's smile hovered as she composed a song of choosing, her soft soprano weaving lyrics that reminded each listener of their agency, their resilience. Ser Voss prepared a public rite, gathering candles and ceremonial threads to tie intentions back into the hands of the city. To Kael fell the quietest task, to trust people. You taught them possibility, a voice within hummed, but can you now watch them shoulder their choices alone? At the stroke of the city bell, the 2nd of January dawned. Families, tentative and skeptical, gathered by the fountain as the Morrowglass hummed softly overhead. This time, when children tossed their coins into the gleaming waters, visions no longer sharpened to a single future. Instead, they fragmented softly, paths blooming like constellations waiting to be walked. A fisher glimpsed 3 rivers with differing rewards, and he laughed aloud. An aspiring healer saw herself at both failure and triumph, bowing deep in gratitude. A doubtful poet wiped her tears, but smiled faintly, knowing some verses still waited to be written. "Weighty freedoms," said Ser Voss, a hand resting on Kael's shoulder. Kael nodded, his throat tight yet luminous. Vigilford awoke that morning to a field of endless stars, and Kael, he walked away with his head bowed to the sunrise, a quiet smile on his lips. The future, he knew, was no longer a single map to be followed. It was a field to be walked, shaped both by chance and courage. What would you have done in Kael's place? Destroy certainty for choice, or keep a brittle harmony? Suggest the next tale, perhaps it'll find its way to firelight soon. And if stories like this brighten your evenings, subscribe to join our journeys. May your own paths be ever luminous.